Welcome to Completely Biology. This is our fifth class on molecular basis of inheritance. In this particular class, we will discuss the process of transcription. So what is transcription? Transcription is synthesizing a single-stranded RNA copy from a DNA. But why do a cell need to synthesize RNA? Because RNA is important to synthesize protein. The structure, function, development, reproduction of an organism depends on the properties of protein. As we know that proteins are made up of amino acids, and the genetic code for these amino acids are present on RNA. So RNA is important for synthesizing protein, and RNA is synthesized from DNA. So protein synthesis occurs in two steps. That is from DNA to RNA, which is known as transcription, and from RNA to protein, that is known as translation. In 1956, scientist Crick gave the name central dogma to this two-step process, that is central dogma. We know that DNA can synthesize DNA, that is replication. DNA can synthesize RNA, that is transcription, and RNA can synthesize protein, that is translation. So genetic information can flow in one direction according to scientist Crick. But now we know that some viruses that has RNA as their genetic material can synthesize DNA from the RNA. So transcription can be reversed, that is called reverse transcription. And the enzyme that the viruses have is called reverse transcriptase. So reverse transcriptase is an enzyme that catalyzes the process reverse transcription. So for synthesizing protein, DNA is important, but not the entire DNA. The small segment of DNA that has complete information for polypeptide chain is called cistron. Suppose this is the two strands of a DNA. It is 3 prime, it is 5 prime, and it is 5 prime, and it is 3 prime. For synthesizing RNA, only one strand of this DNA is needed. It is called template strand. Suppose this is the template strand. The another one is called coding strand. The template strand could be this one or this one. But for a particular gene, the template strand is constant. The beginning of this strand is known as promoter. Suppose this is promoter. And the ending is known as terminator. That is terminator. And the middle portion is known as structural gene. The total structure is known as cistron or gene. So a cistron has promoter, structural gene, and terminator. This is the structure of a cistron. Always remember that the eukaryotes are monocistronic. That means their cistrons has only one structural gene. But for prokaryotes, they are polycistronic. That means in prokaryotes, the cistron has many structural genes. That's why they are called polycistronic. So it is clear that cistron is the transcriptional unit that has promoter, structural gene, and terminator. Now it is the time to understand the molecular events of transcription. So for transcription, one template DNA strand is needed, that is the enzyme required for transcription is known as RNA polymerase. For transcription, 4 types ribonucleotides are required, that is ATP, GTP, and the 4th requirement is magnesium as a cofactor of RNA polymerase, that is magnesium. So these are the 4 elements required for transcription. Transcription in prokaryotes and eukaryotes are quietly different. Initially, we will try to understand the transcription process in prokaryotes. Let's begin. For prokaryotic, only one kind of RNA polymerase is required. As the RNA polymerase is an enzyme, so it is chemically a protein. So it has some polypeptide chains. One polypeptide chain known as sigma factor that recognize the promoter region of the cistron and initiate transcription. This is known as initiation. So for initiation of transcription in prokaryotes, sigma factor is required. Suppose this is a cistron. This is the promoter region, this is the structural gene, and this is the termination region. And this is the template stand. Sigma factor of RNA polymerase bind here and initiate transcription. The next step is elongation. That means the elongation of RNA chain. During elongation, RNA polymerase can move this direction. That means towards the 5' end. As the RNA polymerase moves, untwisting of DNA occurs. So suppose this is a DNA double helix and untwisting of DNA by RNA polymerase occurs here. This is called transcriptional bubble. As the RNA polymerase moves this direction, new nucleotides will be added like this way by ribonucleotide triphosphate. As the RNA polymerase moves, new region of the DNA will be untwisted and the previous one will be recoiled again. About 9 bases of newly synthesized RNA will be paired to the DNA, that is called RNA-DNA hybrid. This will be the 5' position of the RNA and this will be the 3' position of the RNA. Like DNA polymerase, RNA polymerase will also add new nucleotide on 3' position. But the difference is RNA polymerase does not require any primer like DNA polymerase. So as the RNA polymerase moves, newly synthesized RNA will be elongated like this. So this is how RNA elongates. Now it is the time to terminate the elongation. Remember that the newly added nucleotide of RNA will be adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil, not thymine. Thymine is only present in DNA and for RNA, uracil is present. The termination of bacterial gene transcription is signaled by terminator sequence. In prokaryotes, termination are of 2 types, that is row dependent and row independent. Row is basically a helicase. This row binds to this terminator sequence and move towards the RNA polymerase. So when row reaches the RNA polymerase, it cuts the RNA-DNA hybrid. So the newly synthesized RNA is released. This is how row dependent termination occurs. Row independent termination is quite different. For row independent termination, an inverted sequence is required in the terminal part of the RNA. Suppose Suppose this is the structure of a terminator RNA. See, this is the inverted sequence. These two sequences can pair and the RNA can fold like this way. So the terminal part of the RNA can be folded like this way. This is called hairpin structure. So when this hairpin structure is formed, RNA polymerase cannot move forward. So new nucleotide cannot be added and thus transcription terminates. This is how row independent termination happens. So this is the complete process of transcription in prokaryotes. Transcription process, that means the production of mRNA in prokaryotes and in eukaryotes are quite different. And in eukaryotes, it is quite complex as well. As I told you earlier that eukaryotes are monocistronic. That means in their cistron, only one gene is present. But in bacteria, that means prokaryotes are polycistronic. That means the cistron has many genes. So the first difference in prokaryotic and eukaryotic transcription is in their cistron. The next difference is in their initiation. As we know that the total transcription process can be divided into three stages, that is initiation, elongation and termination. For initiation, prokaryotes require sigma factor, but for eukaryotes many factors are required. They are collectively called general transcription factors, that is GTF. So prokaryotes need only one sigma factor to initiate transcription, but eukaryotes needs many GTFs to initiate transcription. These transcription factors recruits RNA polymerase. In prokaryotes, only one type of RNA polymerase is required to complete transcription. But for eukaryotes, three types of RNA polymerase is required. That is RNA polymerase 1, RNA polymerase 2, and RNA polymerase 3. RNA polymerase 1 synthesize rRNA. What is rRNA? rRNA means ribosomal RNA. Ribosomes and cell organelle, that is known as protein factory. These ribosomes made up of RNAs and proteins, and these RNAs are called ribosomal RNA, that is rRNA. RNA polymerase 2 synthesize mRNA, and RNA polymerase 3 synthesize tRNA. We will discuss about mRNA and tRNA in our next class in details. As we know that bacteria don't have nucleus, so transcription in bacterial cell occurs in cytoplasm. Before completion of transcription, translation can be started in their ribosome. This is called coupled transcription translation. But for eukaryotes, transcription occurs in nucleus and translation occurs in cytoplasm, because for translation ribosome is required and ribosomes are present in cytoplasm. So the RNAs need to be exported in cytoplasm from nucleus. So coupled transcription and translation cannot be possible in eukaryotes. In eukaryotes, newly synthesized mRNA is called pre-mRNA because this mRNA needs to be processed. Why? As I told you earlier that RNA is required for synthesizing protein and RNA has genetic code for amino acid. But this pre-mRNA has some code that is not responsible for any amino acid. This portion is called intron and the coding portion is called exon that will be expressed. Suppose this is a pre-mRNA, that is pre-mRNA, and this is the coding portion and this one also the coding portion, and this one is non-amino acid coding sequence. This is called intron and this coding portion is called exon. Exon means expressed sequence. It will be expressed in protein. So this intron needs to be cut out, which is called RNA processing, and these exons need to be joined, that is called splicing. In prokaryotes, introns are rare, so they don't need to excise this intron. After splicing, suppose this will be the mRNA with only exons. This is called mature mRNA or just mRNA. So for eukaryotes, RNA processing and splicing is needed as they have introns, but for prokaryotes, RNA processing is not required. Another two important events that only happens in eukaryotic transcription is 5' modification and 3' modification. Suppose this is the cistron and it is the newly synthesized mRNA. A capping enzyme adds 7-methyl-guanosine at its 5' end. This is called 5' capping. So what is 7-methyl-guanosine? It is a guanine nucleotide that has methyl group at its 7th position. But this bonding is unusual because the 5' end of the 7-methyl-guanosine add at the 5' end of the newly synthesized RNA. And because of this unusual bonding, exonuclease cannot degrade this portion. That's why it is called 5' capping. It protects the newly synthesized mRNA. Another important modification is 3' modification. Most eukaryotic pre-mRNA become modified at their 3' end by adding 50 to 250 adenine nucleotides. That is called poly A tail. So suppose this is a pre-mRNA. This is the 5' end and this is the 3' end. This 5' end has 5' capping. This 3' end has poly A tail. And it has exons and introns. So this is the pre-mRNA. Pre-mRNA can be called hnRNA, that is heterogeneous nuclear RNA. As the nucleus has now many RNAs with different sizes. So hnRNA is synthesized by RNA polymerase II. After processing, introns will be excised and these exons will be spliced and mature mRNA will be formed. This poly A tail protect this 3' end, and it is also important for exporting mRNA from nucleus to cytoplasm. So for your clear understanding, suppose this is a cell and this is the nucleus. It has chromosomes, that is DNA, and we know that RNA is synthesized from DNA. So RNA will be synthesized here. That means transcription will be occurred in nucleus, and this mRNA is required to synthesize protein but protein will be synthesized by ribosomes that is present in cytoplasm. So this mRNA needs to be exported in cytoplasm and protein will be synthesized in cytoplasm. So this is the process of transcription in which RNA are formed. And these RNAs are important for synthesizing protein. As we know that there are many types of RNA, that is rRNA, mRNA, tRNA, we need to know their specialties. In our next class, we will discuss about different types of RNAs.